Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. My name is Boris, and a few weeks ago, GoodOldGames.com was having a huge sale, and so I did something I've never done before. I bought some adventure games. And I normally don't like adventure games because I always get stuck on the stupid puzzles, and you have to click to combine random crap to continue forward with the game, and I never know what random things to combine, and it's like, oh, I had to combine the bubblegum with the cattle prod. Wow, who knew? But there was this game I was checking out, it's called Primordia, and the first line of the game was something to the effect of like, puzzles based on actual logic, not just pointless backtracking. And I was like, wow, this person, whoever wrote that marketing blurb, knows me. And so I went ahead and I bought the bundle of games, and it turns out that this game has a really, really cool story. And while the puzzles are in fact logic-based, I am, because I am not perfectly clever, got stuck a few times, and I found myself wishing that I could just get past the stupid puzzles and move on with the story, which was really, really cool. So that's why I'm making this video. I just want to play through the game so that if you're interested in the story, you can get that. You'll also get a little bit of my commentary on both how to beat the puzzles and on what's happening in the game. But of course, if all you want is a walkthrough, I really actually don't recommend this video. I'd recommend just going and getting a paper walkthrough, or, as paper as things get in the digital world, a written walkthrough, we should say, and maybe only using this video as a last resort if the written walkthrough doesn't make sense. There was a really good one up on GameBanshee.com. That's the one that I used to get through a bunch of the puzzles. This video, again, is just for those of you who really want to enjoy the story, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Almost there. One more setting. And one more piece of the unique is operational.
One down, 1 million to go. Speaking of which, boss, I found exactly none of the parts you wanted. A whole day at the junk pile, and all I turn up are a locker and some stupid conduits. Maybe next time. Boss, are you sure you got those settings right?
That came from down in engineering. Let's go.
Okay, so really quickly, in case you missed it, our hero is a... Oh, hang on, let me lower the volume a bit. There we go. So real quick, in case you missed it, our protagonist, or who appears to be the protagonist at any rate, is a robot, and he's got this robot sidekick named Crispin. And he's fixing up parts on an abandoned old ship, it looks like. Now, there's a sound down in engineering, so let's go ahead and check it out.
There's no time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. That's how the line was in the original version of this game.
Boss?
Crispin, get behind me. Who are you and what do you want? Power.
I think he wants the power core, boss.
Stop right there. This ship belongs to me.
Forfeit. Enemy. Plunder.
I don't think he's too keen on private property.
Get away from the power core.
Forfeit.
Uh-oh.
Boss? Boss? Horatio? Come on, Horatio, wake up!
Oh.
Whew, you're okay.
What happened?
Well, Big Ugly threw you out of the ship. And then he said plunder. Again. And then he left with our power core.
Assad.
Yep.
How much charge have you got?
10%. You?
I'll be fine. We just need to get the emergency generator up and running. I told you it needed to be repaired.
Or we could just go to Metropole, city of glass and light. Free energy for one and all.
Don't believe everything you hear. Metropole is trouble. But if you want to go, you've got free will and a maglev unit.
With that guilt subroutine you put in me, I wouldn't even make it halfway.
Actually, with a 10% charge, you wouldn't even get that far. So I suggest we get the generator working.
You and your projects.
Man built us to build, Crispin. Now, come on.
Okay, so a bit of an interesting start to this game. Our protagonist is a robot who just had his power cores stolen, and in order to have enough energy to continue surviving, he needs to build, or at least fix, the emergency backup generator. Now, we seem to be in this post-apocalyptic wasteland, and there aren't any humans around. In fact, that last reference, man built us to build, Crispin, seems to suggest that actually human beings are kind of revered by these robots in much the same way that humans, for example, might revere gods. Let's go ahead and look around a little bit.
I must have dropped the data pouch when I was thrown out of the unique.
Nice thing about being a robot, you can get shot with a laser and tossed out of a ship.
His memory got wiped. Easy enough to have the good old junk pile's coordinates back in, though.
And still survive. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look around, make sure we're not missing anything here. Ooh, a robot head.
Is that a gumball machine?
No, it's a robot's head.
I wanted a gumball.
Now this sidekick Crispin is kind of handy. You can click on him and he'll say funny things and also give you advice on where to go next.
You know, boss, if you're ever wondering what I would do, feel free to just ask.
I'll keep that in mind.
Boss, did you ever consider that sometimes I just run out of clever ideas?
Apparently I clicked on him a little bit too early. The game makers didn't think that anyone would miss the glaring clue of go fix the emergency generator. Alright, let's go ahead and see. We got a conduit here.
It's a segment of Gordium electrical conduit.
Let's pick that up. What else is here? A cable.
A sturdy cable.
A sturdy cable. Well, if I can click on it, it must be useful. We got some grease here.
I can't just scoop it up.
Oh, really?
I've tried patching this a dozen different ways without success.
Okay, let's check out this emergency generator, see what we're working with. There's a spark plug.
Crispin, when I told you to find a new spark plug, did you just shove my conductive putty into the old one?
Maybe.
No wonder the generator isn't working. At least the putty is still good.
Oh, so now we have some putty and a
The
gap.
generator is missing a spark plug.
So we need a spark plug.
It's not going to do anything until the generator's fixed.
Yes. And we have a socket.
There's supposed to be a power-bearing conduit between this socket and the ship, but I never got around to putting one together.
Now who's the procrastinator?
Bam! Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a look at our inventory. We do have this conduit, so let's see if maybe we can use that in the socket.
I'll need at least 5 pieces to be able to build a conduit long enough to run the generator to the unique.
So we have a little bit of a search quest here. We're gonna need to find at least 4 more pieces of this conduit.
I doubt that will have any effect.
All right, let's right-click away from that. Okay, let's go back into the ship, see what we can find that might help us out.
There's no way I can reach that.
There's a lantern. One of the neat things about this game is you do have a flying sidekick that is someone you yourself actually... So Horatio, our protagonist, actually built this robot, Crispin, and you can use him to help you get stuff that's far away and out of reach, like this lantern.
Could you grab that lantern?
Sure thing, boss.
Blink.
You know, I always wanted to be able to fly. That's why I built you with a maglev unit.
Not so that you could store tools on hard-to-reach ledges?
Well, that too.
Pretty decent writing in this game.
There's no way I can reach that.
Oh, there's a large lantern. Well, let's get that one too.
It's way too big for me to get, boss, and you know it.
Oh, darn. Okay, well, let's go in here and
The
see what
hatch
we
is
can get.
unresponsive.
Well, because the power's down, we can't go in through all the hatches. Pretty clever bit of game design here. Introducing the various parts of the ship to us bit by bit.
This is no time for sitting around.
Oh, I beg to differ, sir.
It's too dark to see the ladder rungs.
And the brave hero encounters his first puzzle. It's too dark to see the ladder rungs. Logic skills. Let's use the light source to see if we can conquer the darkness. Boom. Well, what do we have here?
The controls for this hatch are unresponsive.
An unresponsive hatch. Sheet metal
I can't pick that up.
that we can't pick up. A bed.
So that's where you keep it.
Why were you looking for my plasma torch?
No reason.
So this is one of those cases where, like, the game doesn't quite live up to its logic-only premise, because in order to find this handy-dandy plasma torch, you needed to click on the bed. So if you don't randomly click on everything, you might miss something important. Okay, well, we got a plasma torch here. We also got a gospel.
Couldn't hurt to bring the gospel of man with us.
Going to pray for a miracle, boss?
We are man's miracle, Crispin. Let's hope that's enough.
Okay, so there's definitely some kind of religious thing going on here between robots and man, capital M. Now, what's cool in this game is you can right-click on something to get more information about it.
A small lump of electrically conductive putty.
Or in some cases, you can do a lot more. Like, you can actually read this book. I actually recommend you to read it. It's pretty good reading here. It's a very, very interesting bit of world building. And in a long story short, it talks about how man is the all-builder who created the first robots, and then he built the robots and allowed them to create other robots. Then man eventually withdrew from the world and left the robots behind in order to maintain the world that he had built. So if you want to, you can pause the video and read this page, and then unpause it, and you can also read this page. Unpause that. There's another page here. Again, you can pause and keep reading these. It's actually not too long because the font is pretty big, but there are quite a few pages. So there we go. So that's kind of the essence of this religion.
It's the gospel of man.
That is part of this game. How do I get out of here? There we go. So there's this interesting religion that these robots follow, which is the gospel of man, about how man was the creator, eventually left the world, and now they left his creations, the robots, behind to take care of it.
Good thing there's still some power in the circuit.
Boss, shouldn't you have thought of that before coming down here? We could have been stuck.
I could have just ridden you back to the deck.
Really?
No. Routing that much power to your maglev unit would cause it to explode.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. I couldn't find a working fuse to solve the problem.
I'm a floating bomb. I'm a floating bomb. Sweet.
Okay. Well, we got what we needed there. Got some interesting reading.
More Gordium conduit.
We got a plasma torch. We have 2 out of 5 pieces of Gordium conduit. So one nice thing about this game is you got a sort of limited form of fast travel. So let's go ahead and go to this junk pile and see if we can find anything here.
Boss, just think of all the brothers and sisters you could make for me from all that junk.
One of you is more than enough.
Zing! Alright, let's go ahead and take a look around here. Signal
There's
light.
nothing worth bothering with.
Ooh, conduits.
It's 3 pieces of Gordium conduit.
Yes!
Unfortunately, one of them is completely corroded and worthless.
Aww. Okay, so we now are up to 4 pieces of conduit. We need 5 total pieces. Let's see if we can find one more.
It's just scrap. There's a piece of Gordium conduit way back there.
Well, here we can use our floating buddy to grab
Crispin,
that
can you
piece
go
of
in there and
conduit.
Get that piece of conduit.
I suppose. That would have been a lot easier with hands, boss.
Now we have a locked box,
It's locked tight.
which is locked tight. So how do you get through a locked box? Well, let's try brute force with this plasma torch.
Let's see if this works.
Is that a spark plug, boss? Who locks up a spark plug?
Actually, I think that box was some kind of machine.
You killed it!
Recycled it.
Okay, well now we have everything we need to fix this generator. We've got the 5 conduits, got a spark plug, and that really was all we needed. Let's go ahead and go back and get ourselves up and running. Okay, so first things first, let's put the spark plug into this gap. Bammo! Now, we got these 5 pieces. Let's go ahead and shove them in there.
It won't work until they're locked together.
Okay, so the game's making it a little bit complicated for us. Well, how do we get these 5 conduits locked together? Plasma torch!
Time for a little welding.
Wow, that was easier than I thought it would be.
I feel like that's a reference to the fact that in game time that was deliberately shortened. Alright, so now we have a fused conduit. Excellent. Let's go ahead and... Oops, nope. Let's go ahead and plug it on in there. Woo! Okay, so now the emergency generator is running.
Whew, I thought we were in trouble when Big Ugly stole our core. But just like that, problem solved.
The problem is not solved.
Well, I agree. The noise leaves something to be desired.
This is an emergency generator, Crispin.
Well, it was an emergency, boss.
It only runs for a few days, if that.
Oh. Well, do we have another one?
No. Which means it still is an emergency.
Well, in that case, first dibs on the recharge station. So, what's the plan, boss?
We need to recover our power core.
Or we could just take the train to Metropole and live in luxury.
First of all, there is no train to Metropole. And second, even with full charges, we can't just walk there. But more importantly, I hate that city. It's in my core logic. I don't know why, but I can't change it.
Okay, okay. In that case, can't you just make us a new power core?
Yes, but I need some kind of strong energy source for that.
And you just make one of those too? I'm just asking.
No, but somewhere around here are the plans for an energy sensor.
That's awfully convenient.
I designed it a long time ago, before I made you. I even found a sodium iodide crystal to use in the sensor, though man alone knows where it's buried now.
Okay, so another bit of world building here. There seems to be this city called Metropole, which Crispin thinks is just dandy-rific, and which apparently promises robots free energy and free happiness in life.
Boss, don't you think it's a fire hazard to have all those books piled up like that?
How would they catch fire?
But for some reason our hero Horatio hates that city. It's built into him that he despises it. Anyway, for now we have more pressing needs, namely finding the plans for the energy sensor so that we can make it, find some energy, and then build another power core.
All energy is shared with all robots. Here is haven for all weary wanderers. Come, join us in Metropole, city of glass and light. Our energy is shared with all robots. Here is haven for all and strained in numbers. Come, join us in Metropole.
I bet I can find a better use for this plug.
But now we can't listen to the sweet voice of Metropole.
I guess that makes 2 birds.
Ho! Alright, so that's enough of that. Let's take a look at these notes, see if any of them is the sensor plans.
I found this in the dunes. It reads, pound pastrami, canned kraut, 6 bagels, bring home for Emma.
So it seems like humans definitely were alive, but given the grim setting, it appears that we are definitely in some kind of post-apocalyptic world where humans were alive, but now they've all appear to be gone for some reason and are merely remembered as a religion by the robots.
It's Crispin's to-do list. Funny how it never gets any shorter.
That's your fault, boss, not mine.
So Horatio definitely built Crispin, we know that now.
The original designs for Crispin.
Hey, there are arms here, and an awesome set of tractor treads.
I went with a maglev unit instead, and I never could find good arms. There's the design. I'll put the keynotes into my data pouch.
How does it even work?
The crystal pulses when it absorbs energy. The cable carries the pulse to the computer. The computer decodes the information and displays it on the monitor.
Boss, where are we going to find a working computer?
The Unique is full of them.
Oh, right.
Okay, so we got this cool data thing here, which tells us what which really does a very nice job in this game of summarizing for you all of the key information, so you don't need to spend too much time writing copious notes. But here is what we need. We need some kind of a cable, which we already have. We need a connector, which we don't have. And we also need a crystal, which we apparently need to find somewhere in order to make this energy sensor. Well, let's explore out over here. That is one tricky thing about this game. Sometimes you can't actually see all the different exits of a room very clearly. There's a rag. Oh! Nope, there's not.
Wow, first the power core and now a rag. This is not your day.
No, it isn't. Alright, well, we're gonna get that rag later. For now, let's go ahead and focus on trying to make this sensor. Oh, there's an LCD right here. A phonograph.
We're fine on energy, for now. I've never been able to figure it out.
Alright, is there anything else over here?
I don't need any of these right now.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Apparently not. It'd be fun to read all those books, though. I imagine it would have taken a lot of programming, however. Oh, look, something just sparkled there.
Aha! Here's the crystal.
Right under our noses. That is, if we had noses.
Ho! Just in case you missed it, they're robots! Okay, so now we have all the pieces, I think. Let's go ahead and try to see if we can put them together. So now we can shove the crystal onto this cable.
The cable's far too long to be useful.
Logic puzzle! We have a cable that's too long! How do we solve this? Plasma torch!
Let's cut a little cable off.
There we go.
Are you really trying to build us an energy sensor from a bunch of garbage?
Crispin, I built you from a bunch of garbage.
From spare parts, boss. Spare parts.
We need a plug now.
Well, just goes to show. Garbage in, greatness out.
Okay, so now we have our sensor. We just need a computer to plug this into. Do we have a computer? Oh, there's an interface. Is that a computer? There's a socket. Seems to be what we need. Alright, so now we got a bunch of numbers. And again, our handy data pouch stores these for us, so you don't need to actually write them down, which is pretty cool. Now that we've got the numbers, we don't need to actually leave this plugged in here, so it's a nice little puzzle to test your memory and critical thinking here. You can actually
Maybe I can find some other use for these.
take that and
Now we
use
just
it
need to
later.
Check out these coordinates.
But didn't you just tell me we don't have enough power to go walking all over the dunes?
No, I said we couldn't walk to Metropole. Anyway, most of these are close by.
But what if it's picking up, oh, I don't know, a radioactive rust monster?
A what?
Or a giant cannibal robot?
There's no such thing.
Or an unexploded bomb?
I highly doubt that.
Or a giant lightning storm?
Okay, you're right. We need to know what's out there before we take off. It's just a matter of figuring out how.
Why is nothing easy?
I can think of one reason.
Well, so we need to figure out what's going on at these different coordinates before we go out there, but if you remember, the very first cutscene of the game was Horatio triumphantly fixing the telescope right before his ship was attacked. So let's go see if we can check that out. Here it is. So all we need to do is plug these data points in here, which again the data pouch has conveniently written down for us. Written down for us? Hello? There we go. Geographical coordinates. So 894 is Metropole, and now we got 652 and 817, plus a bunch of other ones, but I'm not going to try to memorize them all for now. If we got 652 and 817, let's go ahead and plug those in.
Nothing but radioactive waste. We can't salvage anything from that.
Well, that was a dud. Let's try the next one.
Boss? That looks like a giant cannibal robot to me.
It looks promising is what it looks like.
And with that, poor doomed Horatio stuck his head into the giant's mouth.
Okay, so now we have a new place to explore, which is kind of cool. It seems to be some kind of a giant robot. Let's go ahead and check out our next data coordinates. 608 and 671. Lots of sixes.
That's strange. The sensor detected an energy source in the junk pile. Maybe we should go look more carefully.
Okay, so that's the junk pile. Those are the coordinates that we just saw. But apparently there's some kind of energy there. So it's not a new location, but it is new information about an existing location. I already forgot what the other number was. 671 and 212.
More waste.
Well, you're the one who loves the junk pile.
Scrap isn't waste.
If you say so, boss.
It's pitch black.
Boss, that's because the telescope's pointing straight down at the deck.
Oh.
Okay, so those two weren't particularly helpful. One of them was a useless place, and one of them was our own ship. Are there any more? There's one more. 159, let's check that out.
Strange. There's some kind of odd device surrounded by glass. Whatever that machine is, it must be throwing off some kind of energy.
Why do I not like the sound of this?
Alright, now before we go, let's just do one more thing. You might remember, we tried to pick up a rag from the engineering room, but it blew away. Let's see if we can find that before we continue our adventure. And now, Horatio the Brave goes out in search for the rag. It flew out of the ship, and here we go. There's our rag right there. Awfully convenient if you ask me.
Hopefully finding the power core will be just as easy.
I doubt it.
I do too, or else this would be an awfully short game. Okay, so what have we accomplished so far? Well, we found out that we are a robot with a robot sidekick that we ourselves have made. Our name is Horatio. Our power core was stolen, and now we need to find a new one, or make a new one. Well, we do have a promising lead, having gotten our ship back up and running with the backup energy generator.
Do anything about that oil leak?
Yes, after we recover our power core.
Thank you guys.
Excuses.
Thank you guys for interrupting my long summary here. Anyway, we've made an energy sensor. We found a few promising places to go exploring for it, and I think that now that we're coming up on 30 minutes, this would be a pretty good place to stop the first video. So please join me soon for part 2, where we actually explore these new locations, trying to find a new energy source so that we can get our ship back up and running. Alright, thanks so much for watching video number 1. I'll see you back here shortly with part 2. Till then.